Hi everyone, Aiden here with eTrailer.com. Today we're taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination e-bike rack on our 2020 Nissan Rogue Sport. The Destination e-bike rack is a bike rack designed for e-bikes. You've got a 70-pound capacity per bike, so good for even some of those heavier e-bikes. And then it's going to hold the bike by the frame. Because it holds the bike by the frame, we do want to avoid carbon frame bikes because this can damage the frame, having that clamp around there and putting pressure on it. But because that clamp rotates 360 degrees and can adapt to the shape of your frame, alternative frame bikes should be just fine. Other than that, we do have the ability to tilt this rack away with the bikes loaded because it is a platform style rack and a more premium platform style rack at that. To do that, we'll loosen up this hand knob towards the front, push it out of the way, and then push the whole bike rack away. This one tilts in a really unique way, almost a full 90 degrees down from the back here, and the way it positions the weight, it's really easy to do because that pivot point doesn't have a whole lot of weight coming down on it. Now we can get access to the back of our vehicle or just sit back here to change our shoes before or after a ride. Whatever we need to do, we've got tons of room to do it, especially compared to other bike racks that do tilt. This one gives you a little bit more room. I'll go ahead and close this up. The other thing to consider with how easy this is to tilt and why that's nice is if you've got this thing fully loaded up with two 70-pound e-bikes, that's a lot of weight coming down at once, and a lot of other e-bike racks aren't this easy to tilt. So if you're having trouble lifting that weight and getting the bike rack to tilt down with all of that, this is definitely a solution to make that easier. Getting the bike unloaded is pretty simple. We've got 3 straps at the bottom as secondary points of contact on our wheels that we'll remove. Pressing in the gray button on the side and removing the ratcheting wheel strap. And then we'll do the clamp up top last. Now, this bike rack does come with a ramp as well. That's really helpful for loading and unloading, but it only attaches at the back of the bike. So we have to have our front wheel in that front cradle with the extra strap, and the ramp would attach back here. Because we don't have the room with our wall in the way, I'm not going to use it today, but just know that that is included with the bike rack, and it's a really solid ramp too. It's really wide, so it's good for the wider wheels on some bikes, and it's pretty sturdy. The one downside is that it doesn't have a place to store the ramp on the bike rack, so you will have to throw it in the trunk of your car or the back seat or something like that. With all that done, I like to replace these straps just so they are all taken care of. And then we can get some measurements, starting with our ground clearance. We do have a reverse U-shaped design here, and at the lowest point it's going to be 16 inches of ground clearance. With the rise on our shank, I think that's going to be plenty for our Nissan Rogue Sport. And for distance added to the back, we are going to be sticking out about 30 inches, which isn't too bad, but we can save some of that space by folding the bike rack up. Got 2 straps here that we can undo, pop open our handles, fold the mast down, re-engage the handles and the straps. Those straps are just safety straps to ensure those handles don't pop open accidentally. And then near the hitch, we've got our pin and retaining clip that we can remove, fold the rack up, and re-secure with the newly aligned holes. Having this option is really nice because if you want to leave the bike rack in the hitch between rides, you can. It'll take up less room this way, now only sticking out about 14 inches. So it's a lot more condensed here. The one thing to think about is that it does block your backup camera quite a bit, but there is still a good opening in the middle where we can see our license plate. Now down at the hitch, we do have it working with our 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube. It comes with a locking hitch pin, and it has a tool-free anti-rattle knob at the back to tighten things up in the hitch. So everything is going to be really simple to use. That key is key-to-like to the hand knobs up top, so everything's under one system. Bike are locked to the bike rack, and the bike rack is locked to the vehicle. And overall, if you're looking for an e-bike rack that's going to be easy to use, has a loading ramp, and has a good weight capacity, this is definitely a solid option. And it's going to work really well with your Nissan Rogue Sport here. Thanks for watching.